He is the Director of Developer Relations at Genvid Technologies, and his topic today will be audience-driven entertainment as the next frontier in gaming. So please welcome Christopher. We are ready to start, if you are. Yeah, sure, just a sec.
Okay. Good afternoon. Welcome to this talk on audience-driven entertainment and MILES, or what we call massively interactive live events. I'll talk a little bit about myself and Genvid. I'll talk about massively interactive live events, or MILES. I'll talk about spectator-centric design and what we mean by audience-driven entertainment. Then I'll jump into case studies of Rival Peak and our current live project, which is The Walking Dead Last Mile. And I'll close with a trailer for an upcoming project that was finally made public last night. So my name is Christopher Hamilton. I'm the Director of Developer Relations in Europe for Genvid Technologies. I'm based in Helsinki. I've been there since 2014 when I took a job at Rovio Entertainment in their third-party publishing unit called Rovio Stars. I really care a lot about giving back to the community and connecting with people, so I'm probably best known for my work with the IGDA Finland, where I'm a board advisor, and I organize an annual one-day conference on leadership in games called Leadership Day. It just happened in September. The IGDA, sort of the global organization where I served on the global board of directors for 4 years, and I'm currently a European chapter coordinator. So I'm working with all the IGDA chapters in Europe, but I really don't care if you're involved in the IGDA. If you are a game developer community, I kind of want to reach out to you, work with you, and collaborate with you some way. And I'm also on the boards of the Finnish Game Jam and We Love Games. I think it's very important that we as developers come together, we inspire one another, and we help level each other up. So I'm happy to serve as a bridge from your community to the Finnish game community, because I think it's really important. Let's see here. So who are we at Genvid? Genvid Technologies was founded in 2016 by some Square Enix veterans. It is a US-based startup with headquartered in New York. We have offices around the world. The company has raised $166 million to date. You can see our funders on the bottom here. I'll point out Galaxy Interactive and Makers Fund because we have people from both of those funds on our board. More importantly for me is we have amazing advisors like ex-Square Enix CEO Ichiwata, digital media executives Matt Ball and Andy Schneider. And Andy Schneider came on as sort of our marketing executive. He was responsible for launching Disney+. Anna Sweet, who was instrumental in building Valve and Steam into what they are today, and she's currently head of studio at Bad Robot Games. Cindy Holland, who was VP for original content at Netflix. And JT Gleason, who was at Twitch for more than 8 years in key roles in both publisher and developer relations. So our mission is to power the future of interactive media. We believe that people love shared experiences, particularly when their participation matters. So be it gaming, sports, or reality TV, these are those events that become those water cooler moments in the office. And we're already creating these massively interactive experiences with top-tier platforms and partners. So let's talk about MILES. Massively interactive live events. The concept that you'd watch people play games used to be limited to waiting for your turn sitting on the couch. Today we're seeing more people, or about as many people, watching games as they are playing them. And how do we as game developers create content that maximizes the opportunity, not just for our player base, but also for the people that are watching? For the people that want to engage but only have a moment. They don't have a lot of time to interact with the content. And that's exactly what we've been looking at. And this is the foundation of what we call massively interactive live events, or MILES. And this vision comes from 13 years of work and research in the game streaming space by game veterans at Square Enix, who were just sort of experimenting with what can we do if we have some sort of persistent world in the cloud, maybe some AI-driven things, and just sort of what can we do with that? We can create new experiences and new things. So what does this interactive media look like? Visual media, TV and film, started in the 1920s. It becomes interactive with video games in the 1970s. Video game broadcasting in the early 2010s, and we believe the future of our industry is likely highly immersive experiences. but there is an opportunity in between traditional media and fully immersive games that we think is compelling for video game developers today. Video games require my full attention. I cannot play Candy Crush, Angry Birds, Clash Royale without giving that game my full attention and tapping on the screen. Traditional media doesn't require my full attention. The average American spends 5 hours a day watching TV, but only about 1 hour of that really commands their attention. And it's something, I don't know, premium TV, Game of Thrones, Better Call Saul, whatever that sort of premium TV show is. The other 4 hours, it's sort of on in the background. Maybe I'm cooking, maybe I'm working, maybe I'm doing something else. But basically my attention moves back and forth to it. There's an incredible amount of content being consumed by people who don't have the time, the ability, or necessarily the desire to get better at playing a game. And if they only have a few hours, maybe they will just watch somebody streaming a video game and experience it vicariously. So players are the core demographic that game developers are thinking about today. But when we look at the streaming media and the streaming wars of Netflix, Disney Plus, and HBO Max, we see that there are billions of dollars being spent on content today, and we see an opportunity for game developers to create interactive content that can be consumed by linear media audiences. Did anybody here see Bandersnatch, the sort of choose your own adventure movie that was on Netflix a couple years ago? Anyone? Think of what that would look like if it were made by game developers. What would it have in terms of game loops or engagements? You could still lean back and watch it, but you could choose to engage with it and impact what was happening, and not just for you, but for everybody that was watching. And that's the kind of sort of content that we're working on creating. So Miles are cloud-powered, highly engaging, interactive live broadcast events that allow anyone to be part of a large audience while directly participating in a meaningful way. Miles combine the best of lean-forward gaming, lean-back TV, and the thrill of live entertainment. And here the audience will matter, and the individual can choose their own level of involvement. So we think of this as a new form of content, a new genre of entertainment. If you want to immerse yourself and have agency, you can. If you just want to sit back and watch, that's good too. And by allowing for these different levels of engagement, we open things up for new audiences and create new revenue opportunities. And so during these years, we worked on a number of R&D projects with various studios, and this is one project that was made by Pipeworks Studios in Oregon. They basically made a very robust AI that had 10 people stranded on an island. They were fighting to stay alive, and they would sort of battle each other out, and for about 15 minutes, you would have the last man standing. And the interesting thing was their whole office was transfixed watching this AI play out again and again and again, determining like who is going to be the last man standing. And so they reached out to us because we're focused on kind of making these games for viewing. And this pictured here is a demo they made for us on Twitch. And we made it possible that viewers could actually launch drones into the game and maybe give medicine to certain players or better weapons to other players, but basically let the viewers sort of play the hand of God and tip the scales as to one player or another and who was going to win. This ultimately was intriguing to Facebook that picked it up. We worked together to evolve it into a multi-million-dollar project called Rival Peak. And I'll point out that Rival Peak was a different type of experience where the characters were not trying to kill each other, rather they were trying to compete with one another in a reality TV show setting. So there are 3 parts to Rival Peak. The first part is a Facebook instant game, which is a persistent world. This part is similar to the reality show Big Brother, where the audience can sort of watch and follow all of the characters, in this case, AI contestants, what they're doing 24/7. There were 12 AI contestants driven by a very sophisticated AI developed by Pipeworks. And voting takes place through audience participation events, or APEs, and these are various user interactions that the audience takes with the live stream or a contestant's live stream. And then the AI character, or the contestant with the lowest score at the end of the week, was eliminated. So the audience engages through voting. They vote by engaging with the instant game. The Second part of this is Rival Speak, which was a Facebook Watch original program that was hosted by Will Wheaton. And this part of the show was interesting. It was a half-an-hour segment, and he would actually interview some of these AI characters and take us deeper into the world. This show was more like Lost. It had a very complex storyline, conspiracy theories, total craziness dreamed up by the team at DJ2 Entertainment. It was more than just a weekly program. It was really a guide into this whole universe. And the interesting thing here is Will, the producers, none of us knew who was getting eliminated week by week. So we had a crazy production schedule where all the voting would end on Wednesday. We would have Thursday, Friday to sort of redo all the scripts and remove the character from all of the dialogues. We would prepare to shoot Will on Mondays. We would go in post-production on Tuesdays. Then on Wednesdays, the program would go live. And then we would have basically a half an hour when that program ran to upload the next week's content into the simulation. And then the third part of the mile was on Facebook itself. There were a number of Facebook pages, character pages, where the audience could get more information on the characters, live tweet, ask questions, get involved in a different sort of way. It used to be that people would live tweet their reactions to premium TV shows. Now all the action was happening right on Facebook itself. And so this is basically an animated GIF of what the experience was like. We're basically looking at Porsche's live stream. You can see across the bottom, there are a whole number of characters. You can see the 3 on the right have been eliminated. And you can basically click on any of these characters and jump to their live streams. The whole program ran from December 2020 to March 2021. And this is basically Porsche's stream. She needs to get some exercise. And by engaging in this idle activity, I can speed up her process. She gets points as part of this active participation event. I get points for engaging with her. In the upper right-hand corner, there's like a home screen that is basically a unified 13th channel that would cycle through all 12 characters in case you don't want to be following just one character. We can get more information on Portia, read her dialogues. There's a leaderboard, so I'm competing against other viewers in terms of the points that I'm collecting or the characters that I'm engaging with. Settings, it was available in eFigs. And then if I want to jump to the half-an-hour TV series, Rival Speak, there's a separate button for that. There are a number of daily votes that you can vote in as well. And basically, this allows you to shape the storyline. Basically, you'll be asked, should 2 characters maybe get into some sort of romance? Should one character share their deepest secrets with another character? And these are just sort of pivot points for the whole plot line as we move forward. So the project ran for 3 months, with the interactive streams getting more than 100 million minutes being watched. The Rival Speak shows themselves had 13 million minutes being viewed. And these were the types of engagements that the audience could engage with. Mostly people were engaging with dialogues. This was basically an asynchronous way to follow the storyline and follow all the characters and understand what was going on. Daily votes so that you could sort of vote things like what the characters were going to do, and then contestant goals where often you would have a character that would sort of stand there, what should I do now? And then you would have an opportunity to give them 3 different quests to go off on, and the quest that got the most votes would win. We also discovered in this version that people really don't like voting so much because basically you don't have a lot of agency. If there's just 2 of us voting, 50%, 3 of us voting, 33%. Hundreds of thousands of people voting, it doesn't feel like you have a lot of agency. So we actually completely made a new system for our current project that's more of an influence-based system where people are actually grinding for influence, and then we're giving them a different layer of options where they can spend a lot of influence points on very big plot twists and changes or smaller things that they can influence where it doesn't require so much influence. But basically, if you log into the game and you play for 15 minutes, you are earning enough influence to actually have a vote in what's going on. Project power-ups, match 3s, and memory activities. Basically, these are idle games, match 3s, and memory games. These are games that everybody knows. You don't really need to give them a tutorial, so it was considered very universal. And then some basic demographics. Top countries were US, Mexico, Brazil, India, and the Philippines. Keep in mind that this is streaming from 13 Unity instances in the cloud. This works very well on low-end Android devices because all you need is a device that can stream YouTube in HD. We don't have to optimize for low-end Android devices because it's just a stream. That's why we have such strong numbers in some of these countries. Personally, I was surprised that men had a bigger user base than women, just because this was a very casual game. I worked a lot in the casual industry. Normally, that's more of a women segment. I was also personally surprised that so few people are using Facebook on PC, and I'll also point out that iOS was only added halfway through the project. There was a huge outcry for iOS fans, and Facebook finally put some some developers towards it to make it available on iOS. So The Walking Dead: The Last Mile launched on Facebook on July 11th. It is the next installment of the Walking Dead franchise, and the story is driven by the audience. So again, influence a constantly evolving coastal Alaskan community through an instant game with new story content available daily. Live interactive streams hosted by Nicole Brown and Felicia Day reveal new story details and discuss the impact that the fan choices have had on the story.
The Walking Dead Last Mile is a new innovative gaming experience that puts you, the fans, in charge. You'll meet an all-new cast of characters in a frigid Alaskan village and influence their stories. But be careful, the decisions you make could be life or death for this small community. Pitch in to help the community or sabotage it all and watch the drama unfold in real time. And then join me, Yvette Nicole Brown, as I host an interactive stream every Monday, where I will talk with special guests, show never-before-seen cinematic clips, and reveal the outcomes of your decisions. The story begins on July 11th. Make sure to follow The Walking Dead Last Mile on Facebook right now, so you don't miss a day of the action. Remember, their survival depends on you.
Okay, so let me set the stage here. This mile is set in a remote Alaskan town called Prosper Landing. The inhabitants are among the last survivors of the undead onslaught. It's a harsh winter, and hordes of walkers are bearing down on them while they fight amongst themselves for resources and authority. And many of the interactions that you make within this mile generate influence points. Viewers use these points to bid on decisions large and small, impacting the story as it happens. When you start, you actually create your own survivor, choosing from 12 different classes, and you join one of two factions, either the village that lives a more traditional lifestyle, the plant that lives a more modern one. And both sides here are working together to survive the undead onslaught while competing against each other for resources. So your survivor can be sent on quests to help contribute to the community, or build up your own influence points, or sabotage your community. And survivors may appear in cinematic cutscenes, and as such, they will be immortalized as part of the official Walking Dead canon. Similar to Rival Peak, you jump into the action by finding out how the community-driven storyline has unfolded since you were last on. Then you engage in mini-games to contribute or sabotage your faction, collect influence points, and impact how the story develops further. Then connect with the hosts, share the live streams, and interview the people as they discuss the key junctions in the overall plot. Similar to Rival Peak, the TV show component of the experience, rather than going into post-production and really having more polished versions, we just have two actors. On Monday, Yvette Nicole Brown hosts a weekly interactive live stream in which she sort of reviews the culmination of the previous week's audience-driven plot twists. While on Friday, Felicia Day hosts an interactive live stream where she herself is streaming, playing the instant game alongside a global audience. And of course, these videos are available on demand for us here in Europe later. And the whole story is evolving over 4 months. The prologue for us was an open beta while we polished things and got a lot of feedback. We took a 2-week break to develop some features. And then we went into 3-4 week acts that run through mid-November. This is resulting in an epic storyline that will be canon in the Walking Dead universe. And we just started Act 3. And here's the trailer for Act 3. This all started on Monday.
Some days it feels like we've got nothing ahead but bad choices. Oh, no! If we're lucky, we get to live with the consequences.
How should villagers spend their time?
Our village is not a bloodthirsty mob.
It's about time you started taking our side.
This is where you can shape the outcomes and narrative of the action.
You influence how other survivors fight to outlast the apocalypse. Weapons ready.
We're gonna die if we don't get anything to eat. Those dogs could keep us alive.
Don't touch my dogs.
You will find yourself at the center of the story and the action.
Right, so this is still available. It's still running live. You can jump in now, sort of create your character and begin to shape this narrative as we close out the last act. There are a lot of different cutscenes. There are a lot of different dialogues that people can engage in and sort of get caught up with the whole story as it moves forward. But you can see that it's part game, really part interactive television. And then here's a slide that I inserted last night because we made an announcement regarding our next project that finally went public, and we're kind of excited about it. And I'll just show that video now. Okay, some key takeaways. The audience watching live streams today is growing faster than the games market. It's super accessible, no skill is required. This is an expanding blue ocean. At Genvid, we're platform agnostic. Pick the platform to best reach your audience for that interactive experience. It could be Twitch, it could be YouTube, it could be Facebook. Native cloud streaming reduces friction. There's absolutely nothing for the user to download, install, or update. You just jump right into the game or right into the experience. And this is highly accessible because it works really well on low-end devices without having to optimize for them. With that, thank you. Scan the QR code to give me some feedback. I'm always looking to iterate on this, and what we're talking about is rather new. Sometimes I'm not sure if I need to give more background on what we're doing. We also have a white paper on interactive streaming that I'm happy to share with anybody. So please don't hesitate to reach out. And then I'm also happy to demo projects that we have with game developers who are basically building video games, but then trying to build audiences around their video games. And rather than looking at streamers as influencers that are trying to get players into their game where they can monetize them, they're looking at building an audience that they can monetize around the game without actually getting them to play the game, because most of the people that are watching live streams either don't have the time or the desire to actually play the game. So if you can monetize them as a viewing audience, it's something special, and I'm happy to talk more about that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, does anyone have questions for Christopher? Okay, well, I think you have one. Okay.
How long does it take to develop a project like that?
So these big miles that we've been developing, the first one, Rival Peak, in the middle of COVID, we managed to deliver that in 7 months. It was actually quite astounding how quick we were able to deliver it. The Walking Dead Last Mile, we had more runtime, and there's actually a lot more development work that went into it, so the runway on that's longer. However, the Silent Hill project that's coming up, that's going to have a longer runway as well, because we're also trying to have much greater high-value cinematics and carrying a little more love and attention into the development of everything. For smaller projects, I mean, we've worked with developers that have games that are partially in development, and they're usually multiplayer games or esports style games. And you can build something kind of around that that's more viewer-centric experience in a couple months. depending on how deep you want to go into it. There are several layers of interactivity of whether you just want to provide more information to users or whether you want to actually create an interplay where you can have the viewers reach out, touch the game, and impact the game. A lot of that requires much more balancing and much more work. So it's sort of project by project, I guess is the proper answer.
Have you considered working like with studios? Like, you know, like how casual right now, they work with external studios and they're publishers. Have you considered that you can like work with studios for them to develop games and then like publish them in this manner?
So depends on kind of the direction. With Rival Peak, we worked very closely with Pipeworks Studios as the lead developer. With the Silent Hill project, Behavior Interactive is sort of the main. We have some first-party publishers that we're working with. We can talk about possibly publishing or helping you find a publisher or helping you find funding to develop some of these projects. If it's something that's really interesting, we can just talk individually about it.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, I still think we have run out of time. Anyway, thanks for the nice talk. The projects are really great, so we wish you best of luck with the following ones. So, yeah, thanks again.
Thanks, everybody.